Alright, welcome back, Cyberpatriots. So in this video for Linux, I'll be teaching you how to set up, enable, and configure firewall, including some basic ports to block, and so on. So first things first, need to open up my nifty terminal. There we go. And let's just start it with it. So something I recommend doing, I doubt that this will happen to Cyberpatriot, but maybe in the more advanced, before you enable firewall, you want to do is check. So sudo UFW, that being the firewall, status, just to see if it's on or not. Okay, it's off. Okay, so that means we are free to enable it. Because sometimes if it is on and you end up enabling it again, it'll possibly refresh the rules that it already had, and you might lose points. I doubt they'll do this competition, but I heard this from someone competing in a college cyber security competition. So okay, let's go. So let's enable it by this command. Let me just make it bigger, and then enter. Boom, firewall is active and enabled at system startup. Okay. So now we're gonna want to do is set up some default rules, such as we want to by default deny any connection trying to go into machine, and maybe any connections going out of machine. So I would recommend this. So sudo UFW default, and then do deny incoming. So what this does is by default the firewall is going to deny any sort of connection trying to connect to us. So, okay, so let's keep going. So if you also want to be more strict, you can also do default deny outgoing. Again, technically these two are I guess not required, but I see them as maybe recommended. So outgoing. So what this does is deny any connection from your machine to the outside world. So obviously, what's it called? This is not required. So this might be helpful because sometimes we don't want the machine to start. If we somehow get like a virus or like a Trojan virus or like malware, and it starts connecting to another machine, we don't want that. So that's why this is pretty useful. And then afterwards we can specify which connection we only want, and then everything else would be denied. So let's just enter this, and then it is configured. And that's why it pops up the row. Make sure to update your routes accordingly. Okay, that's fine. Next thing to do, they might give you points for this one, is turn on logs. And logs is important because it records everything that happens. So this might even record like maybe a possible attack on your server machine, and that is important when it comes to cybersecurity. So turn on logging, you set up logging on, and it's enabled. And if you want to turn off the how sensitive you want it, you can set it to high, medium, or low. I'm gonna set it to high. Even Cyberpatriot, I would, just in case I get points from it, but I would. Okay, so let's go look at our firewall. So see the status, or what we have set up. So UFW status verbose shows more, or most all of it, and boom. So it shows that it's active. We have login on and it's high, and here we have it denies incoming, denies outgoing, and this is disabled. Don't worry about this, but we have this set up. New profile skip. So that means we haven't set any rules. So this is where rules come from. Where we want to block ports or certain applications from connecting to the machine, or we want to allow certain to go out to the outside world. Okay, so before we do that, actually, we want to go make sure one thing in our README. What is our critical service? So we don't accidentally end up blocking this application from working. So our critical service for this machine is SSH, and SSH's port is 22. So we instead of denying SSH, since it's a remote desktop kind of thing or connection, we will allow it. So I'm gonna do that really quickly. So to allow connections to your machine, you do sudo UFW allow. It can do by the port number or its name. So I'm gonna do the name just for this point. So we've allowed SSH. And if I'm right, no, that's wrong. Okay. So if we go look to our thing, we can see that we have allowed SSH to go in from anywhere. Cool. So let's keep going. So now we can start blocking malicious and dangerous ports with the command sudo UFW deny, and then the port number or application. So let's begin. So I want to deny port 21 and 20. That is the port belonging to FTP, and since FTP is not a critical service and it's something we don't want connection to and it's a common port, we want that denied. Or you can also do by the name FTP as well. Same thing. So we have 20, 21, 21, 20 denied. And if you wonder what this is, this is what we when we put FTP. Remember we put the name. What this is IPv6, and it's basically the same thing, except it's just a different version. So it does it for both sides, which is nice. Alright, let's keep going. So next one I want is 23, which is Telnet. We don't want to access that. And if you remember what Telnet is, it's a remote connection application that is unsecure. That's Q. 25 is SMTP, which is a mailing thing. We don't need that. And what else we want to remove, you may ask? Well, we have quite a number of stuff. So next we want to remove is port 110. If you're from a meeting, this is the port belonging to POP, another mailing server. So since we don't need it, we'll just deny it. Let's keep going. So 111. If I'm right, that's a printing one. 139 is Samba, a file sharing application. So we don't want access to that. Just again, it's not a critical service, and it's a common application we don't want anyone connecting to or having. So it usually has 2 ports, so it's 139 and 445. We want to maybe deny SQL or Microsoft SQL servers. So 1434 that would be, and 1333. And if I'm right, you should be able to do it by doing just SQL or something like that. MySQL. There we go. As well, you can do application names. If you want to go for more depth, you could do 505, a common hacked port for Trojans and such that, and so on. Alright, that is some basic ports we can disable. And then one more thing, if you want to go a step further, actually I'll make it into a separate video of how you could take this a bit step forward in firewall security. But for now, let's be satisfied with this, the terminal. So let's go check our scoring report and see if we got points for it. So see you then. Alright, we're back, and as we can see, we ended up getting points for disabling port 20, 21, 23, 139, and 445. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next video.